Alright, this thing can't turn. I was able to turn it with pliers, but it didn't work too good. And you can see, I knew to turn it with pliers because it was already turned. Somebody already. Big screwdriver. There we go. Alright, that's it. It's out. See if I can free that up. See if we can. Dry, pretty dry in there, hardly anything in it. So I can imagine that was never done before. Can't turn them. So this washer was in there, and then this lock ring, the snap ring. I got that off with a pair of needle nose. I'm gonna just take those off. And then this one, this looks like a snap ring. And then there's that, springed out on me, totally dry. Dry. So still pretty can't turn it, so we're gonna go ahead and try modifying things. So it looks like it's all apart except for the whole inability to turn the thing, and there's something you could do to line it up to do it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to spray a little lubricant in there, try to free it up a little, and see if I can clean that out. But nothing has grease in here, so it's pretty dry, probably all original. It doesn't look too bad, nothing's worn or anything broken. So go ahead and see if we can figure that out. Adjustable wrench just wide enough for this, and I've been soaking it in some Ballistol. There's nothing inside, it's fine. So it's only this outside assembly. So all I've been doing is working it back and forth. It seems to be freeing up, so I just lock it in there and just turn it back and forth. This thing was definitely marred up already, even before I took the wrench to it. I know I made it worse, but still. So I know this thing might have been a problem for a while, and my dad had it and stuff. So I wanted to make sure you got this. So it broke when I was trying to move it back and forth, and it was still pretty tight. I mean, it was tight. So just the force of putting it back and forth with a very thin wrench broke that. So what I did was I took it apart, and this is actually a screen. That's a screen, so the vacuum can push it out, and it can lock in, so it has a little bit of airflow. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some JB weld in the middle there. There's nothing really special in the middle, so I'm going to do that just to seal up the, so no big stuff gets in there, and the screen will still be on the outside. One thing I was a little worried about was right there, that tab's missing. So, but I just put it together and tried it out. It seems like it's going to stay together. Now, boy, on the camera that looks pretty bad, but I steel wooled it. I took 4/0 steel wool and rubbed all inside here, and this is where the problem was. I'm going to take the knob and put it upside down. Smooth now. So that was where the problem was. It was actually a crusty piece, like crusty, just corroded aluminum in there. So it's all nice and shiny now. This looks pretty rusty on camera, but I assure you, I did steel wool it and oil it, and inside you can see it's a little slip ring or a little locking ring. You can find the end right there. Just pry it right out. So then this plastic piece just goes right in. I remember it from the I think it only fits in one way. Let's try it. Oh, actually, it doesn't really matter. The rubber keeps it up a little bit, and one of the techniques is to push that down. And then the last thing is getting this thing on. This only fits on pretty much one way, so you gotta put it on and try to maneuver it into space. But I gotta put the gasket on this time. So I think it's gonna move freely now, but yet to be seen. I gotta make sure it goes together, and that tab missing is not gonna be a huge problem. I cannot find just this knob online anywhere, so there's that. But pretty fun little project, pretty rewarding. Kind of nuts was this small spring. There's no information on where it went, so what it does is it actually goes inside the little white plastic piece. So that was one problem I was having. So that's good. That's all good. Great. Yeah, there's plenty of videos on how to grease these up on the manual and auto locking hubs, and keep them, cleaning everything up. So what I'm gonna do is here's some of the mistakes I made. One thing is, I was fortunate, or unfortunately, when I was twisting the inner knob here, I was twisting it back and forth, and I actually put a lot of strain on it, and it crushed this little centerpiece. After I realized that if I used some channel locks and put it wide out, it was easier to turn, but this thing would not turn that easy. So hopefully I can rely on the old videos that I did when I actually did have it apart, but it wasn't easy. I mean, it's really a non-serviceable part at the end of the day. I mean, I got in there and I'm going to use the thing. I don't care. It's a low budget restore. So if for whatever reason, I'm not going to touch it now, but if for whatever reason I got to get into the other passenger side selector knob, and then I'll end up hacking it up and doing the same thing. So here's what I came up with to cover this up, because I don't excuse me, this is like a screen. This is a screen, so you can see it's kind of porous. So that's made for the bladder. With the vacuum bladder kicks in, it lets the air release, so there's no pressure behind it. So I want to keep that intact. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put RTV on this and set it in place. I might find a black one. Try to find a black one. I'll make it a little collected it with the grease. But this was the biggest challenge that I had, is figuring out where the spring went after, because I had these two pieces together. So when you're putting this in, it has to line up as well. There's only one way it fits, so two ways, but pretty much one way. So that's what it's going to be like. So it kind of locks in there. So, but it's ready to pop off. It's under a little bit of pressure, and then there's 3 dots on it, right? See the 3 dots on the plastic piece, and there's 3 of these raised pieces. Now, there's a couple examples of all the friggin' YouTube videos I watched, and here's another one. But all of them, when they first took it apart, it was always seemingly lined up with those 3 dots were lined up with the 3 raised pieces. So, but when no one considered that when putting it back together, even mine, I should take off the passenger side to see if it's a similar thing. So I don't know if it means anything or not. It doesn't fit any differently. It doesn't seem, everything looks symmetrical. But for the heck of it, I just did it anyway. This is a pressed fit, small. That's it. Clicks right in there. Then we could slap this ring back in. Same way it came out. Start with an edge and jam it in there. That's it. And the test, it's pretty easy to test. I'll get my hands greasy, but that's unlocked. You can see the center piece is free floating. It's nice and greased too. There's no grit in there or anything. It's nice and smooth. And if you lock it in, you can hear it clicks in. So that locks those two gears together. So again, unlocked and locked. So it's working pretty nice. So smooth. So there you have it. Ford Auto Shift on the Fly service. That's kind of cool, actually. So because if you pop this off, inside there's a little nipple that pushes up and down and actually pushes into the space of this. So like I said, I'm just gonna maybe RTV both sides a little bit, just to keep it on there. I'll clean it up with a little alcohol or something, just to make sure any kind of residue's there and the RTV sticks, and then that'll be that. pretty cool. But yeah, so smooth. So smooth. So there's your hub. I cleaned it with with rubbing alcohol. Let it dry up. And just put a little bead of silicone in there, snap this over the top, and then dressed up the edges, trying to keep as much silicone out of the screening here as possible. So we're going to throw this back together, and we'll move on to the next thing. Building a bunny key. So here's the rebuilt unit. I'm just going to put a little grease in here. I guess the grease, there's no real moving parts, but at the end of the day, throw some grease in here. I guess the main purpose of this is just so I don't have to. It'll be easy to take apart. So I'm going to put it on both the inner and outer spindle. Even out as much as possible. I don't really need to goop it up a lot. Just enough so the next time if I ever need service again, we can do it. One more. All right. We have this. Just like that. Tool for the snap ring, but they say it is said that you can take it on and off without even using tools. But I'm gonna get a screwdriver and push that on and let this bake in the sun. I'm gonna wipe off the hubcap, throw that back on. Should look good as new. Can't even tell we were there. And the hub should lock, no problem, and unlock. So let that sit in the sun and boil up. Very easy. Nice. Alright, that's that.